The power to tax involves the power to destroy. Chief Justice John Marshall. I'm John Rose. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to talk about a really important topic that's on a lot of people's minds. It has to do with whether or not a vegetarian diet or a vegan diet is part of the New World Order agenda. It seems like it is, isn't it? Isn't the UN telling us to eat less meat? Why is that? How can that be? Well, in order to understand what the UN is doing, you have to understand more about the UN. You got to put things in perspective. You got to look at the sequence of events of what's happened when and what the powers that be are trying to do to us. You also have to understand how the Hegelian Problem-Reaction-Solution works, and I did a video on that about 3 years ago. I'll put a link down below. Talk about a little bit in this video also. But in this video I want to be able to help you guys understand the big picture. Let's put this in a better timeline. Let's start back in 1873. They call it the crime of 73. That's when our country here in America, we shifted from bimetallism, got rid of the silver, and went to the gold standard. 1873. Another time we need to be aware of is 1884, the Fabian Society. Boy, I talk about that all the time, don't I? Talk about all the key players and how they're trying to usher in this one world government, which is going to lead us, of course, to the UN. Fast forward a little bit, we go to 1910, the Flexner Report. The 1910 Flexner Report. How many of you guys have heard of that one? Flexner was hired by the powers that be, Carnegie and Rockefeller, to go out and evaluate all the medical schools here in America. Turns out at that time, 2 out of 3 of them were practicing homeopathy because it was the least invasive form of helping the body heal itself. One out of 3 schools were the allopathic doctors. Well, Rockefeller learned from his granddaddy how to turn oil into a cancer cure, and he wanted the best salespeople in the world, so he wanted to manipulate the medical industry. He started way back in 1910. Made sure those homeopathic doctors didn't survive. He gave something like $50 million, and that's a long time ago, so that's a lot of money, over a 50-year period of time, to make sure that the allopathic doctors finally developed a monopoly in this industry, where they can now treat symptoms for a lifestyle-related problem. An industry that should not even exist. So that's 1910. But then in 1913, oh my God, look what happened in 1913. This is when it all comes together, folks. Remember, crime of 73, 40 years later, 1913, it seems like there's a plan there, isn't it? Remember, in 1913, that's when the Federal Reserve Act was passed. 20-year agreement with this foreign corporation to let them print our money, sell it back to us at interest, make us debt slaves. That same dollar back in 1913 is now worth about 4 cents by design, because that's how the powers that be control us. They want to make us poor. The power to tax involves the power to destroy. 1913, let's take over this country's money supply. What else happened in 1913? Well, the Federal Income Tax Amendment was supposedly ratified. It turned out it wasn't. But it supposedly was, and what was the purpose of the Income Tax Amendment way back then? To pay the debt on the money that they printed. Got to make sure we get paid, so let's start taxing you guys. What else happened in 1913? Well, the FBI was established. That's kind of interesting. And then the ADL was established, the Anti-Defamation League. As Voltaire once said, to learn who rules over you, find out who you're not allowed to criticize. Well, wait a second. Anti-Defamation League, anti-Semitic. Jews aren't Semites. In fact, the powers that be, the one printing all of our money, they're not even Jews. They're non-practicing Jews. They're Zionists. They're Satanists. They don't worship God. They worship Lucifer, Satan. 1913. Now we go up to 1930. We got the Bank of International Settlements was set up to deal with German reparations. And then later it was used for derivative swaps, and now we're going to be using it for carbon taxes. Going to 37, the FDA was set up. In 1939, we had a bunch of these national state medical acts were passed all around the country, giving allopathic doctors a monopoly on a treatment peddling industry, industry that should not even exist. Going to 45 now, we got the League of Nations, which became the United Nations. In 47, the National Security Act was set up. In 48, we've got the World Health Organization. Folks, you got to put things in the big picture. You got to realize what's happening, how we're being controlled. The power to tax involves the power to destroy. Why is the UN promoting a plant-based diet? Why are they saying we should eat more plants? It's because they want to tax the meat, and everybody's eating meat, so now we're going to tax the meat. Well, that's ridiculous to tax the meat. Let's just stop subsidizing that industry and making that meat cheap. So we're being taxed, and that's being used to make the meat cheap, and then we're going to be turned around and taxed again to make the meat more. You see what they're doing? The power to tax, the power to destroy. Folks, these meat industries are being, we're not feeding the cows what they're supposed to eat to begin with. They're eating soy and wheat and things like that. And all those industries are getting free water. If they weren't getting free water and pass that expense on down to the meat we're eating, we'd be paying an astronomical price for our meat. I remember in the Diet for New America, John Robbins, way back over 30 years ago, was saying that a pound of hamburger would cost $35, the way they pushed the numbers way back then. So it's ridiculous to subsidize an industry so it's affordable and then turn around and tax it so it's not affordable. Why? Because they're trying to link that to man-made global warming, and this is where I lose so many of you guys. Don't give up on me now, folks. I know a lot of vegetarians are clinging to this as a reason to say, look, don't eat the meat, save the environment. We don't need to worry about carbon dioxide for an excuse to tell people what eating animals is doing to the environment. We already know there's tons of reasons why we don't want to eat out of the food chain like we are and destroy our environment. We don't need to add something onto it that's only going to be more taxable than the people eating meat, and that's the air we breathe. I've done many videos on man-made global warming. I know that's hard for some of you guys to wrap around because, again, if you're a vegan, you want to use this as an excuse to motivate people not to eat the animals. There's plenty of other reasons to motivate these people. And remember, my channel is all about uniting these two groups of people. Those who know what to eat and those who know how the world is working, how there's a small group of people, that new world order that's want to take us over. Now they're confusing us by saying, oh, the vegetarian diet, it's going to make you weak and sickly. That's poppycock. Now, keeping in mind that most vegetarians are just only correcting one of the 5 mistakes we're making. So they're eating a lot of processed foods and junk, and plants are not biologically adapted to eat. So of course, most vegetarians are not healthy. Just giving up meat is not going to make anybody healthy. And to prove my point, be sure to check out the Game Changers, coming out this September. They're finally going to release this movie, a documentary that was supposed to come out last fall, 2018. Now it's going to be 2019. They're finally saying, here comes the Game Changers. Proving that real men don't eat animals, because if you don't eat the animals, you can perform better in every way of life. Your testosterone can go up 20% within 10 days when you stop eating animals. And your performance, you can run faster, you get stronger when you stop eating the animals. And I found that out 33 years ago. That's what got me on this journey. I quit eating animals. I go, wow, what a difference. I want to know more. I've been wanting to know ever since then. Now I understand why it took me 36 years to find this. I understand how the world works. Power to tax involves the power to control. Hegelian Problem-Reaction-Solution. These 6 psychopaths that control everything, they create a problem. And when they want to control everybody, it's a global problem. And they want to scare us, so we have that reaction, which is fear. And if we have that reaction, then we settle for their solution. Problem, reaction, solution. Global warming, you guys are doing it. I'm afraid I'll pay my carbon taxes. You know, I heard Trump got us out of the climate accords and saved us $5 trillion by the year 2020. The power to tax is the power to destroy. What does $5 trillion do to our economy? Oh, we owe this money. People, you have to realize the big picture. You're not going to be able to make any sense out of any of this, and you're going to follow for the bullshit that's being told about what's happening to our environment. You have to realize that Al Gore, he flipped the graphs to make it look like the global warming came after the carbon. It's the other way around. The carbon dioxide comes afterwards. And I know this is hard to believe because you see these movies and documentaries and you hear these dumb statistics that they lie about 97% consensus. That's all a lie. Look into this with an open mind. I have a really huge file on this subject matter. And all I want to know is the truth. I don't want to be fooled and pass on bad information to people. And now I understand the purpose of these carbon taxes. Because everyone breathes out carbon dioxide, right? A lot of people are eating meat. Okay, well, tax the meat, tax the air you breathe, tax the cows. Why is the UN promoting a vegetarian diet? Because they're really promoting the man-made global warming scam and myth. And I know I'm losing subscribers right now. People are going, what's wrong with this guy? Doesn't he care about the environment? I do care about the environment. But I know that it isn't the carbon dioxide that's the problem. Oh my God, carbon dioxide is a poison. Hey, I'm gonna go kill you. I'm gonna breathe on you. Carbon dioxide. Ooh, carbon dioxide. It's a food. Those plants are going, yo, give me that carbon dioxide. It isn't the carbon dioxide that we have to worry about polluting our environment. It's all the other crap and chemicals. Quit focusing on carbon dioxide. We're being tricked and fooled. Hegelian Problem-Reaction-Solution. The power to tax, folks. That's the way they can control us. It's a form of Neo-Feudalism. Done videos on that. I'll put links down below. Ultimate tool controls our health. The absolute tool is money. They gotta keep us poor. They gotta tax the hell out of us. They got to punish everybody who breaks away from this money game and then lie about what happened so that no one will look at what really happened and realize that it's all about controlling our money. Remember what John Adams once said? First vice president, second president of the United States. 2 ways to conquer and enslave a nation. One's by the sword, and the other, it is by debt. Goethe once said, none are more hopelessly enslaved than those who falsely believe you are free, and all you fools who just unsubscribe to me don't even know you're slaves. It saddens me to see me lose so many subscribers because they can't wrap their brain around the truth, and they don't realize where they're getting their information and how we're being bombarded by bullshit to make us believe in stupid things so they can continue to control us. So no, the UN is not promoting a vegetarian diet for us to be healthy. Look at their agenda for how to be healthy. They don't mention this. It's all about this environment, those cows and that gas, global warming. No, that's another way they trick us. Turns out to be a double whammy. We're going to get you by taxing you with the meat. We're going to get you by taxing the carbon dioxide. Next thing you know, everybody's going to be having a carbon tax just because we're breathing out carbon. We're all going to have this carbon footprint. And I can see in the future, I was thinking of this earlier, I said, boy, this is all planned way ahead of time. So I guarantee you, if they're successful, if things keep going the way they are, and they start pushing a vegetarian diet on people, I guarantee you, they already have more processed foods lined up to fill this niche, this new group of people that are going to stop eating animals because it's too expensive now. And now they got all this new variety of fake foods that isn't going to make anybody healthy. 5 mistakes, folks. You stop eating animals, that's a big step. But if you still eat processed foods and conventional foods grown on artificial fertilizers, sprayed with pesticides, you're not going to be healthy. You keep eating plants you're not biologically adapted to eat, you're still going to be unhealthy. If you're still cooking your food, you're missing the boat. And if we weren't cooking the foods, we wouldn't be making those other 4 mistakes. Every one of my videos drives this point home. The fall of mankind, the first mistake we made, the thing that destroyed one of our senses, that changed our mentality. We shouldn't be working to begin with. As Aristotle pointed out, all paid employment absorbs and degrades the mind. And now we're so confused about gender roles and should the woman work? Should they be at home taking care of the house? Should the man go off to work? No, no one should work. It's all backed up. And now they're changing the roles so that, no, let's get the woman to work so we'll have more people to pay an income tax and we'll have the state raise the kids. Our whole society is being attacked by these 6 psychopaths. It's a long-term plan, folks, to usher in this one world collectivist state. One world, one government. And they don't want you to become vegetarian and become weak unless they're going to push a whole bunch of processed foods on you and act like it's better than anything ever, which is very likely. So, paleo diets are limited. Vegan diets are limited. The raw vegan diet's the only way to go, folks. We're not supposed to cook our food. If you can't wake up to that reality, then you'll never figure anything out also. To understand many profound things, you have to understand the raw food, cooked food connection, that it changed our mentality. Then you have to understand who rules the world. In order to make any sense out of this, how can the powers that be want to promote vegetarianism where they're doing it in disguise by pushing the man-made global warming? So they have an agenda, and they know their priorities. They know they really got us with this man-made global warming stuff. If they can assign such a huge debt to these industrialized countries, what's a country to do unless they wake up and realize it's what they call odious debt? Other countries figure that out, audited their books and go, look, 93% odious debt. We don't know this debt. It's made up. Again, that's why the Bank of International Settlements was set up in 1930 to be able to handle reparations from countries. Oh, you owe us this money. Oh, you've got these derivative swaps. You bankers gambled away your money, and now we got to bail you guys out. You're too big to fail. No, you guys need to fail. You guys need to pack up and get out of here. That's not going to happen unless we wake up. That's why I say over and over, we all play a role, my friends, in turning this planet around. And don't get confused just because someone's saying, well, the powers that be want us to be vegetarian. Look at all these sickly vegetarians. Of course they're sickly vegetarians. Look what they're eating. They're still eating mostly cooked food. And then you look at some of the raw vegans, well, they're struggling too. Are they? I've been a raw vegan for 29 years. I'm not struggling. I feel better now at the age of 65 than I ever have. It's a joke to think that my species-specific diet is going to somehow be damaging to me. It can be if I don't realize it might not satisfy everything I need because the world's no longer ideal. And yes, I say that countless times in my videos, don't I? Our species-specific diet is only an ideal diet in an ideal world. We don't live there anymore, so we might need to modify it slightly. And of course, that's the argument you're going to hear from people, aren't you? Oh, your diet's no good. You got to supplement it. I don't know a diet on this planet that doesn't need supplemented right now. Even our species-specific diet. Because the world is no longer what it used to be. The environment's not the same. We've damaged it. And gosh, yes, we need to protect the environment. And I always liked what the mad cowboy said, Howard Lyman. He says, to call yourself an environmentalist and still eat meat is like a philanthropist who doesn't give away any money. And I take issue with that term, philanthropist, because they always refer to somebody giving away money. That's not a true philanthropist. I am. Because I sacrifice making money, and instead I'm giving away knowledge. That's a true person who is making the world different and better. It isn't someone who made a bunch of money and then gives money for causes that don't do anything. The true person is the one that gives the knowledge away, and you can become that too. That's what happens when you join the hero's journey. And you start realizing how valuable this knowledge is and how it can transform individual lives and ultimately the rest of us if we can just get the message out to everyone. That's why we got to just stay strong and keep getting out there and telling as many people as you know that there's a simple solution to take down the powers that be. There's a simple solution to figure out whether or not the New World Order is behind a vegan diet or not. You got to realize that vegan diet doesn't correct all the mistakes. You got to realize you got to stop cooking your food. You got to realize cooking our food is what changes our mentality. You got to realize that it's the wrong mentality that's put us where we are. And if we don't address that issue, we're never going to solve problems. And the only way we can address this issue is to have it done on a collective basis, which is why we got to reach the tipping point. So then the majority figure it out. And when that day comes, things are going to change in ways that just you can't help but get excited. Because there's no telling what's going to happen when the vast majority of the people wake up and realize what's happening. And I sure hope that I see it in my lifetime. And I know some of you guys are much younger than I am, so I hope I don't miss out. I hope it changes soon. Because I'm tired of seeing the suffering. Aren't you tired of seeing people suffering? How can you keep this knowledge in and not want to share it? And of course I know that when you do, they just pop your bubble, don't you? They burst that big old bubble. You're so excited. Can't wait to tell people about this solid food vacation you're on. You can't wait to tell people what it's like when you stop cooking your food. And boy, that's just too tough for the average person to deal with. That's why things aren't going to change until we reach that magic number. When everyone starts doing it, everyone's going to want to do it. And if they don't know about it and you come into their life and you tell them about it, they're in for a treat.